Thokozani. Please say hi as you come in. Say hi. Say hi, mkhulu. Thokoza mkhulu. Ninjani. Retumetsi, how are you? How are you? Greetings. Happy Sunday. Oish, Where are the purples? Thokozani, guys. Thokozani. Can you guys hear me? Let me just do this. There. Yangiz, if you guys can hear me, please signify that you can hear me. Say hi as you come in. Lydia, Smama, how are you, Lydia? Good to see you. Duchess, how are you? Whoever you are, Kwand, Joe. No, not today. Muliman. No, it's Muiman. Togoza. Hi, guys. Togozan. Thokozani. How's everyone doing today? Right? How was your Sunday? I know in South Africa it's evening already. Hi, Ritumetsi, Tobela Petunia, Babalwa, hello, Palesa, how are you? Joe, how are you doing? Nontle, ngiyavakala, Nkosi. Okay. This is not disgusting, guys. I'm eating cloves. I'm drinking something, a concoction with cloves. One day I'll tell you all about the cloves. I'll tell you all about the cloves. But yes, Kolani, Angelina, how are you? Zagade, how are you? Ndauwe shewe. Thokozani, Thokoza Cynthia. Guys, it's cold here, hence the... Yeah, winter is really, really here. And I hate the cold. Greetings, Infinity. How are you? Petunia, I've greeted. Lorraine, how are you? How are you guys? Let's see how high we can get this number, and then I'll get started. Manana, Ninjani, Lindiwe. How are you, Lindiwe? Hope all is well, Lindiwe. Poncho, how are you? Bushman, Ninjan. Isbongile, how are you? Yes, loud and clear, perfect. So as Thokozeni, and then I'm going to get started. Whoever comes can join. Guys, share this out. I'm going to try hard not to laugh, but then that's impossible for me, you know. Ngiyahleka nje. Hayi ukuthi ngabe ngihleka umuntu, but life is comedy. Oh, Thokozani, Ndauwe, Chamakwini, Lesedi Lehanya, Tobela, Kwaziwai, Muribwanji, Jambo, Kedu, Ninjani, Kilode. I have greeted everyone. Hi, Thokozani Kindred. Hi, nice to see you guys. Van Tota umlungu lo mnabelunga ngibafuni la ungene njani umlungu lo where are my admins yo hayi ngeke cela ndimsuse lo mlungu who else is here Ninjani eish nango munye futhi baningi abelungu la kanti baphumaphi yo you want to show off your badge. Which badge is this? Oh, you've got is that a top fan? Where Kehla? Ngiyakubona nyankwabe ngicela ususe abelungu bagcwele lapho. Ngicela ususe nje. Ngicela ususe. Nje ngena njengo admin ubasuse. Hey, man isibindi. All right, guys, I'm going to get started. Oh, you chew 2 cloves a day. Okay, you must tell me the magic that happens when you chew cloves. Because there are several things I've discovered about cloves that are absolutely amazing. But asiko lab. So guys, what I wanted to do today is Thokoza van Tota Russian. Okay, yan Thokozisa kodwa ngumlungu. Kanjani? Guys. So what we want to talk about today is I wanted to talk about the kind of evidence that there is about the divine masculine or the masculine and the feminine actually being totally interrelated. In other words, there's duality in all of us. But I wanted to start it off so that we have an understanding of what actually happens when we are conceived. So there are many stories that people tell, like, oh, my kids, for example, tell this very interesting story. They say that they saw me and chose me to be their mom. And it used to freak me out because when they were little, they've forgotten it now and they don't say it. But when they were young, they would, especially my identical twins, would talk about how they both decided that I was going to be their mother and they would see me. And then when one said, okay, you wait, I'll go first and then you join, the other one said, no, we're going together because otherwise we'll be separated. Now get this. The twins' pregnancy was the third and last pregnancy. And after that, I wasn't to have any more kids. So this idea that they had to come together so that they didn't get separated was really like mind-blowing. Now remember, they're identical twins. So meaning it's one egg, one ovum that was split into two. Right? Deep. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the process of fertilization and how it then maps out our genetics. So now you've chosen somebody and somebody, that's going to be your mom. What was always interesting is there was never talk of choosing a dad, right? It was never, oh, we saw that guy and we thought, no, it's always the mom. Why? Because the mom is the one who bridges the spiritual realm and the physical realm, right? She's the carrier. She holds that incubation chamber, that sacred chamber. So women are the only ones who are able to bridge the physical realm and the spiritual realm. Hence the choice of mother. Fascinating, right? Remember, I've always said to you guys, be careful who you have children with, because at the end of the day, it's you as the mother, as the co-creator. You are the one who carries this chamber. Therefore, you are the one who gets to determine what grows or who grows in there. Yeah? I know a lot of people don't like this because they're like, why are women always being held responsible? Why are women... The thing is, that's what we are. We're held responsible because we're supposed to be more responsible. We're held responsible because our duties on this planet require us to be responsible. So whether you like it or not, whether I like it or not, whether the next sister likes it or not, facts is facts. We have more responsibility because we are created to carry more responsibility. It's a huge responsibility to carry a human. Like literally, like you have another being with its spirit growing in you. That's deep. Right? So let's start with our biology lesson. The first thing I wanted to show in terms of the genetics so that people have an understanding of perhaps the differences as well as the similarities between men and women. The first one I'm going to show you, forget the writing, I'll explain as I go along, is this one, right? I don't know if it's upside down for you, but here, let me see if I can move this back, or I lean back. So here you have your egg, right? It's in you. And at fertilization, you've got all these dudes swimming, and they literally are swimming. And only one gets chosen to deposit only its head. The rest of this falls off. Now think about that for a minute. This is a tiny, tiny head, gets allowed in, right? And these all fall off, as well as this tail, right? So that's that's conception for you, to put it in a nutshell. Now, why am I showing this slide and why is it important? It is important to understand that this egg has so much complexity in it. This egg has so much DNA material in it compared to that. Remember, the rest of this falls off. So whatever genetic material is in there falls off, doesn't go in there. So it's literally that versus this. Okay? Need you to understand that, because now what you have is, I want you guys to look at what we call the sex chromosomes. Why? Because you will see where that difference I just shown you in terms of the ovum and the sperm, where that difference comes in, boom, like that. So this is the female X chromosome, this is the male Y chromosome, right? And every individual gets an X, this is the side, okay. So if you're female, you'll get an X from your mom, that stays, and you'll get an X from your dad. If you are a guy, you will get an X from your mom, but then you'll get a Y from your dad. Now look at this Y chromosome. There is a piece that is missing here, this whole piece. So it forms this Y shape. Let's think about that for a moment. This is why women have so much more than men do. This is why women develop faster than men. This is why women are more intuitive. It's a genetic coding that's actually there. Because remember, there is that whole piece of genetic material missing. Now you ask yourself this question, well then, how did this even happen? How did this even happen? Well, science will tell you that. You know the biblical story that we came out of someone's rib. Women came out of Adam's rib. I'm here to let you know that that's not possible. That's not possible because based on the structure of these chromosomes, it looks like something broke off here, right? This is the female, this is the male. This is a mutation of that. So in other words, we all start out as female. So in terms of evolution, women came first, not men. And no, we weren't created, boom, exactly at the same time. There was a process of development, but the first creatures that walked this planet were female, as evidenced by biology. This Y chromosome is literally a mutation of the X, the female chromosome. Ne? Stay with me now. Stay with me. Let's keep going. Now, when I say that we all come from females or we all start out female, right? Here is evidence. I've talked about this before, but I want to show it to you in picture form. There. This is a female. This is a male. These are the reproductive organs of a 9-week-old fetus. Do you guys notice something? Do you see any differences there? Any major differences at all? No. Because we all start out female. And then at some point, the hormones that code for maleness start kicking in. And literally, just so you understand, this chromosome codes only for maleness. And it's limited. So everything else that the male has comes from this bigger female chromosome. It comes from the X chromosome. The male chromosome is too small to have anything else on it except things to do with maleness, except things to do with testosterone. Does that make sense? Therefore, in development, it's this in the male that gets activated first and everything to do with this before this kicks in at like 10 weeks going forward. Are you following me? In other words, I know that there are a lot of men who have this serious problem of, you know, I'm the head of the house, I'm the this, I'm the that, you came out of my rib. You guys, that's fairy tales. Biology does not support that stupid fairy tale. And the problem is there are many people who are living their lives based on a fairy tale. The result of that is that we are misaligned because of a fairy tale where biological scientific evidence tells you otherwise. Even just logically, thinking about it logically. How can woman come out of male when woman is the one that has the apparatus to bridge the spirit realm and this physical realm? Make it make sense. How? Why they pulled us out of a rib with the apparatus, or how did it work? None of that fairy tale makes sense if you look at the science. So as above, so below, right? As above, so below. The energy that caused duality. So there's Atum Ra. I don't want to go too deep into it. Atum Ra was this is creation story. Atum Ra was the androgynous, all that I am that I am. But in order to split to form masculine and feminine, Atum Ra, the atom, was energized by a feminine principle, a feminine energy, a feminine star. So again, everything tracks back to the divine feminine, no matter which way you look at it, at what level. Everything tracks back to the divine feminine. Therefore, based on this way, based on this would be a male, right? A female would have the extra. But remember that a woman gets her other Y chromosome from her father, right? That chromosome, yes, it encodes femaleness. So you get 2 of those and you're a female. However, you get some part of your father. How? Because there's something that's called genetic crossover at these points, so that there is some male characteristics in the female that she gets from her father. They are minimal, but they are there. This is what then in the female causes that duality, where yes, you're female, but you do have some masculine characteristics from your father that came encoded on his X chromosome. How did his X chromosome get it? Through something called genetic crossover. I'm not going to go into detail with that. So men and women, you may manifest as female, but your spiritual self has some masculine characteristics. You may manifest as a male, but your male self definitely has a lot of female characteristics. Is that making sense? So I just wanted to do this live because when I go through social media, and particularly in toxic spaces like Twitter and TikTok, you will find invariably some brilliant young spiritualist teaching on this stuff, and she will get attacked, like attacked by men, and sometimes by women, sadly to say, who really, it's like they rebel at this information. They rebel at the idea that there's any part of them that can be remotely feminine. And it tracks back to what I've always said. Where does this hatred for the divine feminine come from? Because that's what drives this revulsion at the idea that you could have anything female in you. And yet you're born of a female. You are part female, like it or not. It's just what is, right? It is sad that we live in societies where even that revulsion for the divine feminine manifests itself in things like homophobia. Like, I don't know where you guys are, but certainly here in the States, trans women are dying like flies here. They get killed. by heterosexual men who are affronted by the idea that there is a male who actually says or wants to be female. Never mind whether they want it or not. Never mind if there's some biological imperative that makes them that way. That's not the issue. The issue is there is a revulsion because you present as male and yet now you're dressing like a female. It's an affront to a lot of male or masculine egos. And it's sad. Because we miss the whole point of this. But it also emphasizes something that's important for us to understand about the societies we live in, which is this deep hatred for the feminine, for women. Only someone who has deep hatred for the feminine can sexually assault a 5-year-old girl, can sexually assault an 80-year-old woman. There has to be a really deep-seated hatred for the feminine for somebody to be able to do something like that. So I wanted us to talk about this in the light of trying to harmonize so that you become a whole human. You cannot be a whole human if there are parts of yourself that you are rejecting. Right? You cannot be fully human, meaning a spirit in a human body, if there are parts of yourself spiritually that you are rejecting. Because what it means is you're also rejecting the duality and the balance in the cosmos, as above, so below. If you're rejecting the duality within yourself, you're automatically objecting or rejecting the duality that's in the cosmos. See how messed up it gets? That is why when you look at our problems as Bakwantu, the basis of a lot of our problems, I'd hazard a chance and say of all our problems, is misalignment within self. And therefore, if you're misaligned inside here, you're misaligned everywhere else. Forget about it. So how do we do this work of alignment? First place is the calendar. I'll say it over and over again. You can't not say it. You have to align with your crowning principle. What season were you born with? What is the principle that is prevailing at the time you are born? What are the characteristics of this principle? Learn them, study them. You will find that, listen, it's unbelievable what you're going to discover when you do this. It's such an aha moment in so many things because you're like, that's me. Oh, that's really me. And then there will be some things about you that you didn't fully know or embrace. You may have known them, but didn't embrace them. Because you thought it was some aspect of you that is negative or some aspect of you that, the shadow. We are like that as humans. When there are things about ourselves we don't like, we don't accept them. You're not integrating, right? Integration means seeing all parts of yourself and bringing them together so that you become one. So our purpose is to close up that duality so that we become one. As long as you're having this going on inside you, you're misaligned. I once did a live where I was talking about your sort of light self and your shadow self. And I said, your shadow is a part of who you are. It's like when you're walking, right? As above, so below, as within, so without. When you're walking, there's you and then there's your shadow. Can't run away from your shadow. Same time, you can't run away from what we call your inner shadow. Those things about yourself that you don't like, can't run away. You have to integrate them. You have to accept that they exist so that you can work at them to bring wholeness to yourself. So you can run all you like. Your shadow is following you. Even if it's cloudy, you don't see your shadow. It doesn't mean it's not there. It's there. So it's the same thing with this divine masculine, divine feminine. You cannot move as a whole human being if you're rejecting that important part of yourself. And whatever characteristics that brings. So this harmonization is huge, right? You start off with this calendar. You get to know your crowning principle. Then you are conscious of what this principle does, who this principle is, and understand yourself through understanding this principle. Once you've mastered that, you are fully within your power. What do I mean? Nobody can tell you any kind of nonsense about yourself. People can say this or that about you, but you stand in the knowledge of self. That's deep. That knowledge of self is also very healing. Because there are things that have happened to us over the centuries. We carry it in our DNA. Then there's the stuff, see, the stuff that we carry in our DNA, it gets amplified generation after generation, right? As more traumatized people die, more trauma is accumulating in those of us who are alive, right? Our ancestry. But once you encounter this calendar and you align with your governing principle, you heal because everything else that is not of you falls away. Because you now know who you are. So you now know how to heal those generational things that are poking their heads and trying to mess up your life. Because you know who you are. So I hope that the biology lesson has clarified some things. Please do share it out. I'm sure there are a lot of people who find it fun. If you like science like I do, then yeah, this is fun. So I really hope you guys had fun. See, it's short today. See, the lectures, the teachings are always short. By the way, just to let you know, I have a private group where I teach in depth on a lot of these things, because there are a lot of things that, especially 2 years ago, that I knew for a fact that my Facebook was going to be shut down if I started talking about some things, or there was going to be some needless one coming and taking offense at what I was saying and then reporting my account. But at this point, you know what? The truth is marching on. You know, the awakening is here, and we're talking about this stuff as openly as possible so that more people understand, hear it, and that's on. Bagwantu need to awaken yesterday, not today. We need to really awaken, and we need to do it fast. That's why I ask you to just share these videos out. Someone somewhere is going to get this information and needs it. Somewhere will say, where's this calendar? How's this calendar? I need this calendar. I need to understand me. And they'll get that calendar. Right? So please, sharing is caring. This is what community is about. Just share this out. And maybe even though the cognitive brain of, say, the masculine, or even sometimes the feminine, you know, women sometimes have a hard time with this information too. But that's simply because of not living consciously. And like I've said to you, many of us have fled our bodies. You know, there's been so much abuse in this body. Who wants to stay in an abused body? So we dissociate. Right? So this information then is very difficult to grasp and very difficult to absorb for a lot of people. But sit with it, you know? Sit with it and just meditate on it. You know, or if it helps you, get a biology book and sit down with it. And then think about each point critically. This is what I want us to do. Don't take my word for it. That's why I always present evidence. I've spoken about this stuff before, but with no evidence. But you see, in everything that's happening in the cosmos, it's going to be here as above, so below. So we'll see it. Duality. Right? That's the beauty of learning science the African way. Because our spirituality is founded, like I said before, on knowledge. It's not hocus pocus, they pulled a rib out of... Hey! Imagine! They pulled a rib out of your side. Yeah? You guy, they pulled a rib out of your side and then they made a woman. Such magic doesn't exist. Right? So, like I said, I hope you guys got value from this and Hey, Monica. Monica's here. So Monica is my first child spiritually. Monica and I have journeyed together, and Monica was admin to that particular group. It's suspended right now, but it's there. Oh, Monica, we used to teach a lot of stuff in that group. Now it's all coming out, child. We're not scared anymore. So hopefully on my next live, I want to teach you guys a little bit about the history of Christianity and you know how it's all patriarchal, Father God. But I want to share with you some secrets that within that whole externally patriarchal structure, there is a deep knowledge of the divine feminine. And I'll show you all the symbols throughout churches all over the world that show you that, you know what, we've been sold a dead donkey because they knew the truth. But it had to be hidden. It had to be whitewashed. It had to be distorted. They had to create this political tool, this manual called the Bible, so that they could advance their evil agenda, which was to enslave and to colonize. That's why I call it a political tool. Because literally, that is why it was put together. To control people. So, that's the next one. I will pull out all the slides and I'll show you all the symbols and I'll explain to you how it got to be the way it is. Now, listen, just off the record, on the record, I'm not here to bash Christianity. Couldn't care less. I'm not. But what I am here for is to speak the truth. Now, if the truth feels like it's bashing Christianity, that's no longer my business. I'm not responsible. I'm responsible for putting out facts and the truth as is with its evidence. If it makes you feel some type of way, like you feel I've attacked your religion, this might not be the place for you. Because there's going to be a lot of that happening. And not because I'm attacking your religion, but because there are so many lies, so many untruths that have been told in the name of this religion. So, on that note, I love you guys. Togozani. Thank you guys for joining me and see you soon. Love you.